Hey people, this is Ashtin D here, bringing you another review. This one is going to be of the famous Dragon Ball Z. Now, I'm sure most of you have already seen this series. If you haven't, then there'll probably be a little bit of spoilers in this, not too much, but I'm guessing most of you have seen this. So I'll throw some stuff out there, but it won't be too much to ruin it for you. So, Dragon Ball Z is a direct continuation of Dragon Ball. I believe it's like 10 years later or something like that. Maybe that's way too much. I don't know. I haven't watched it in a while, but it's a while later after the tournament where Goku defeats Piccolo Jr., saves the world from his wrath, and Goku's living peacefully in the mountains with his now wife Chi-Chi and his son Gohan, who is about like 5 years old right now. At that point he's about 5. So the series gets introduced with, of course, the arrival of Raditz. Raditz shows up and pretty much lays this huge bomb, this spoiler bomb that I'm about to give you, where Raditz is Goku's brother, and Goku is a Saiyan. He's an alien. He's an alien. You wouldn't even expect that, but it does explain why Goku transforms into a giant monkey when the moon is full and his tail is full grown. But yeah, so Raditz comes and says, what are you doing? Like, this planet should be pretty much destroyed by now, since you were sent here in the same space pod to destroy the planet. But that never happened because Goku, as a young child, was hit in the head very hard. He fell down a canyon and landed on his head, so he forgot pretty much who he was and forgot to take out his mission of destroying the planet. So pretty much what Raditz does is kicks the shit out of Goku and Krillin, or just Goku, actually. Krillin's too much of a bitch to even get involved. Kicks the shit out of Goku and says, you have 24 hours to kill, I think, like 100 humans, and then you're set free, you're set scotch-free, and then you have to destroy the rest of the planet. Or they will, or the rest of the Saiyans will, which there's only 3 at this point. But he takes Gohan hostage and puts him in the Saiyan space pod, and then Piccolo Jr. arrives, or just Piccolo now that we know him as, and he says, there's no way one of us alone are going to beat this guy. We have to team up. So they decide to team up, even though Piccolo, at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, is still considered evil. So they team up, and one of my favorite parts of the series is when they're fighting Raditz, and Gohan goes berserk. Throughout the whole series, Gohan has this latent power that always gets awakened. And goes berserk, breaks out of the same space pod, which is pretty much supposed to be indestructible, and injures Raditz so much. He's never been injured this bad. He breaks the Saiyan armor that he has just by powering up and smashing his head into him. Breaks the Saiyan armor, and Raditz is weakened after that, and then Piccolo has this new technique that he uses. It's called Special Beam Cannon, which becomes pretty much an way bigger use of his arsenal later on. But at this point, it takes him a long time to charge it up. So Goku has to hold Raditz. He sneaks behind him, grabs a hold of him, and then Piccolo shoots a Special Beam Cannon, and it goes through Raditz and Goku, and it kills Goku. But as Raditz is dying, he tells Piccolo that, hey, there's 2 other Saiyans still, and I just recorded everything you told me about the Dragon Balls, so they're on their way right now, and they're both way stronger than I am. So you guys are pretty much screwed. So then, over the next year, we see a training arc of Gohan and Piccolo. It's pretty much based on Gohan and Piccolo, but we do get a training section showing Tien, Krillin, and Yamcha training up with Kami at Kami's lookout. And then we see Goku in Otherworld. He gets special permission to train with King Kai, so he has to run along Snake Way, which takes him like 6 months or something like that. And he gets there, trains with King Kai, learns Kaioken, learns how to use a Spirit Bomb, and then the Saiyans arrive, and for some reason King Kai is a complete dumbass because he didn't tell him that it takes about a day for him to run back on Snake Way with his new powers after training. It's only going to take him a day, but it's like, that's a day, you know, everybody could be dead, all of the Z fighters could be dead by the time he gets there. So, which brings up another point, why didn't like King Kai just teach him instant transmission at that point, because you later on find out that King Kai knows it. Why didn't he just teach him that, and he could have just transported there? But I guess that's a whole different discussion. The Z Fighters hold off somewhat. Piccolo dies, Tien dies, Chatsu dies, Yamcha dies, just from Nappa, not even Vegeta, who's way stronger than Nappa. But then Krillin and Gohan are the only ones that survive, like usual, except for Krillin. Krillin dies a lot. But then Goku arrives and pretty much just beats the crap out of Nappa. He does have to use Kaioken once, but that's just to save Gohan from getting demolished by Nappa, who gets demoted by Vegeta saying, hey, you're a disgrace, stop fighting, go do something else. And he's like, I'll just go ahead and go and mess with Gohan and Krillin and beat the shit out of them, but Goku stops them. So then we get the fight with Vegeta, and we all know how that goes. Goku gets his pretty much ass whipped by Vegeta, and it's only because Vegeta turns into his Ozaru form, which is the Great Ape form, by creating the artificial moon. And then those three, Krillin, Gohan, and Goku, teaming up together, are able to defeat Vegeta and send him packing, because Goku doesn't want to kill him. He wants to show him mercy. So then he goes back to, I don't know what planet it is. It's some other off planet that Frieza's men own and they use as like an outskirt, a place to stop at to go to different planets and take over planets, because they have that planet trade system where they go and pretty much destroy the planet, and then they'll sell it to people who want to buy the planet. So that happens, and then but Piccolo dies, so the Dragon Balls aren't there. But they do find out that there are more Dragon Balls on a planet called Namek, where all the Namekians are from, like Piccolo and Kami. So go to planet Namek. Gohan and Krillin and Bulma do, and Goku's still recovering because he's waiting for Senzu beans. So they go there before Goku does, and then Goku does eventually leave, like a week after, and he does special training on the ship using the ship's gravity. It has like this gravity machine to where it can fluctuate its gravity. So Goku eventually trains up to 100 times Earth's normal gravity, which makes him way stronger. But before that happens, when Krillin and Gohan get onto the planet, they encounter Vegeta gets there, because he's looking for the Dragon Balls too. And they meet people like Zabuza, Frieza, Dodoria, Dende, and Guru, and a whole huge cast of people. And they have to sneak their way around and try to get Dragon Balls, because Frieza and his men are also looking for the Dragon Balls, and same with Vegeta on his own accord looking for the Dragon Balls. So there's three different parties looking for the Dragon Balls. They use them for what they want. Frieza and Vegeta want them for immortality, while Gohan and Krillin want them to wish their friends back. And so they're doing all that stuff. They're doing all these crazy fights. All this crazy stuff is happening because there's three different sides that are going for the Dragon Balls. And eventually Vegeta and Krillin and Gohan had to team up to fight against the Ginyu Force, which is a special force that Frieza has, which it seems like a she in the American version, but it's a he, rarely uses, and only uses for special missions that require their expertise, because they're super strong. They're pretty much considered the next strongest under Frieza. But as we go on to find out, Vegeta, using his Zenkai boost, which is whenever a Saiyan, which is what Nappa, Vegeta, and Goku are, whenever a Saiyan gets injured or gets close to death, they get a boost in their fighting power, like a huge boost. But so since Vegeta's been fighting this whole time on Namek, while looking for the Dragon Balls, his power has grown substantially. So they're able to hold their own. Actually, Gohan and Krillin hold their own against Gildo, I believe his name is, the little green guy with the three eyes. And they almost beat him, but Vegeta has to step in and help. And then Raccoon comes in and wipes the floor with all three of them. And they're all three on the verge of death. Gohan is the last standing, but he eventually gets his neck broken. And Goku arrives just in time to give them sensu beans. He even gives Vegeta one for helping his son and Krillin, because he reads Krillin's mind when he shows up, because he has these new powers after training at 100 times gravity. And he gives Vegeta Senzu and saying, thanks for saving my friend, my best friend, and my son. And then he just wipes the floor with the rest of the Ginyu Force, and then Captain Ginyu has to come, and this is like my least favorite part of the freaking series, is where he switches bodies with Goku. It really pisses me off. But I don't know why. It's just a thing that pisses me off. There's little things that piss me off in manga and anime, and that's one of them. But he eventually gets his body back, and Vegeta beats the shit out of Jace, which is one of the members of the Ginyu Force too, and he beats the shit out of Captain Ginyu and Goku's body, because Captain Ginyu doesn't know how to use Goku's body that well, because he was taught in the ways of martial arts and like Zen and like training of the mind and stuff. So his body and the way he uses his powers are way different than what Captain Ginyu does with his bodies, which is just brute force, pretty much. So he does start picking it up a little bit, but it's not enough to defeat Vegeta. And then he tries to switch bodies with Vegeta with his body transfer technique, but Goku and Captain Ginyu's body jumps in the way, switches back to his original body, and then Goku, how does this work? Switches back to his original body. So Captain Ginyu's in his original body. So then he tries to switch again with Vegeta, and then Gohan picks up a frog, throws it in the way, and Captain Ginyu is now in a frog, and that's pretty much the end of Captain Ginyu. But then the big Kahuna Frieza, the strongest in the universe, he finds out about all this and shows up, and then we have this whole ordeal where Vegeta and the gang have to fight against Frieza. But before Frieza shows up, they wished Piccolo back. So Piccolo, on the way back, fuses with Nail, which is Dende's his older brother, one of the native Namekians, fuses with him, and then, fuses with him, and then he goes, and he's become super strong, stronger than Vegeta, and then he starts heading toward the battlefield. But then, during that time, Vegeta's fighting Frieza, and Frieza transforms into a second state, which puts his power level over 1,000,000, and pretty much hands Vegeta an ass whipping, and he almost kills Krillin, and this is when Gohan goes berserk, again with his latent power that he always tends to bring out in times of need, and he does a good job of he doesn't really injure Frieza, but he catches Frieza off guard, and by that time, Frieza comes back, and he's like, that didn't even do anything to me, but it was a nice little thing you did there, because I wasn't expecting that. And then Piccolo shows up, and Piccolo holds his own against second form Frieza, but then Frieza transforms into a third form, and we get Piccolo getting his ass whipped, and then Gohan goes berserk again, almost actually kills Frieza this time. But if Frieza didn't have a tail, let's just say if Frieza didn't have a tail to hold him off the ground, there's a good chance that Gohan would have killed him or severely injured Frieza. So we get that, and then he transforms into his fourth form and beats the shit out of everybody all over again. And then Goku shows up and does a good job holding his own against Frieza, because Goku's... Let me back up a little bit. Goku was injured this whole time from that whole Captain Ginyu thing. His body was demolished. So he was healing himself in one of the those chambers that have the water in it, and they put your DNA in there, and then it heals your body super fast. It only takes like an hour. So he breaks out of that after he's fully healed, goes over to the battlefield, and he starts facing off against Frieza in his final form. But Frieza was only using like 5% of his final form's energy, so then he goes up to 50% and he starts beating the crap out of Goku. Goku has to use a Spirit Bomb, which does do a lot of damage to Frieza, but does not kill him. They thought they killed him, but it doesn't kill him. And then Frieza, of course, kills Krillin. This is like the third time he's died. And then Goku turns into the almighty Super Saiyan. Then we all know how that goes. He defeats Frieza, but Frieza destroys the planet. And everybody thinks Goku's dead. This leads into the Android Saga, which is... I'm going to sum these up a little faster, because those are the two easiest ones to sum up, because those are the two of my favorite. The first two. These ones, eh. But okay, let's sum this up a little faster. All right, so Android Saga. They go to wish back Goku because they thought he died, but he's obviously still alive. He comes back, and he's warned by Trunks that in 3 years' time, and in a city like 9 miles southwest of South City or some shit like that, it's some weird tongue twister, that these androids arrive, and they pretty much kill off the Z Fighters, and they pretty much destroy the world as they know it. You can go look more into that, and there's a movie about the past, about Trunks' timeline. You can go and watch that. And that explains a lot about why Trunks came to warn Goku in a time machine. But he warns Goku, hey, these androids are going to come. Be ready this time. Train really hard for these next 3 years. But he doesn't. He tells everybody what's going to happen, but he doesn't tell anybody who Trunks is, because Trunks is the son of Vegeta and Bulma, and you can't let that get out, or else he might not exist. So Piccolo overhears them because Piccolo's on the Namekian and he has super hearing, and so everybody finds out about the androids, and they go their separate ways to train for 3 years. And so that happens, and then we get a little time skip. Not in anime. In anime, there's filler, but I'm sure in the manga there's a time skip. And then 3 years later, after all the training, androids show up, but these are different androids. These aren't the ones that Trunks foretold about. And Trunks shows up again. He's like, what the hell is this? So they kill off the 2 androids, Dr. Gero, who's one of the androids, and some other guy. And then he releases the original 2 androids, but these 2 androids are way stronger than the ones from Trunks' timeline. So they beat the crap out of everybody. But Goku had to leave prematurely because his heart condition that Trunks warned him about, but he gave him medicine for it. So his heart condition was bothering him. He's in all this pain, and he's probably in pain like for a few weeks. He's bedridden. But he comes back. He doesn't die like in the other timeline. And comes back, and then there's this new person introduced called Cell, who didn't show up yet in Trunks' timeline. But he is another android creation by Dr. Gero, and in order to have a chance against him, Piccolo fuses with his other half, Kami. Now, you may not have known that, but in Dragon Ball, it's shown that Kami split himself in half to get rid of his evil side to become Kami, which is a translation in Japanese. Kami means God, so he becomes God. And then they fuse back, and in order to defeat Cell, and Piccolo gains this humongous power, stronger than a Super Saiyan, and he goes and fights against Cell. Probably could have beaten Cell, but Cell escapes with the solar flare trick, of course, because Piccolo was handing Cell his ass, pretty much. And then he escapes. Cell escapes with the solar flare. And then Cell goes around and absorbs all these people. He pretty much clears out cities because he just will go and destroy the city. Well, he doesn't even destroy the city really. He just goes around and absorbs people, and he leaves the city barren. There's nobody living there anymore. And so that happens, and then he eventually runs into Android 17, 18, absorbs 18, and then he goes into a second form. And then while that was happening, Vegeta and Trunks were training in the time whatever room, to where a day in real world in that room, it's a year. So they got a year of training in a day, and they go and they beat the crap out of the second version of Cell. But since Vegeta has all this arrogance, he's like, you know what, I'll let you absorb Android 17 and I'll still whip your ass. He absorbs Android 17 and he becomes perfect Cell and beats the shit out of Vegeta. And then Trunks steps in, and Trunks actually has become stronger than Vegeta, but he didn't want to show Vegeta that because Vegeta's pride would be greatly hurt because he is really prideful. So, and then Trunks starts to fight against Cell, but Cell finds out the weakness of the new ascended Super Saiyan form, which is called USSJ, like Ultimate Super Saiyan. But he finds out the weakness, and it's because Trunks comes so bulky that his speed slows down. So he cannot defeat Cell because he's too slow. He's more powerful than Cell, but he's too slow. He can't touch him, in a sense. So, and while all that's happening, Goku and Gohan are in the Spirit and Time training room. And that's where Gohan becomes a Super Saiyan, becomes the youngest Super Saiyan before the Buu Saga, which is kind of, we'll talk about the Buu Saga here in a second, but becomes the youngest Super Saiyan at that point. And then Cell holds these Cell games to where it's like a tournament style form, and all the Z Fighters show up, and we get Goku versus Cell, but Goku cannot beat Cell, so he's like, Gohan, you can beat Cell. He says, Gohan, go and fight this guy, but he doesn't tell him why he thinks he can beat Cell. He just believes Gohan can do it. And so Gohan starts fighting against Cell, and Piccolo's like, why are you having Gohan fight against Goku? Or not Goku, fight against Cell. Why are you having Gohan fight against Cell? And he's like, we all know, since Gohan was a young kid, that he's had this latent power inside of him. It's shown several times, and I saw it inside the Spirit and Time training room, where we get a brief instance of Gohan turning Super Saiyan 2. So, and everybody's still skeptical on it. They're like, you're betting on that? Like, that's really iffy. You shouldn't be betting on that. You're risking your son's life on that bet. But it's the only way Cell could have been beaten at this point. And eventually Gohan does get pushed to the point where he does turn Super Saiyan 2 and is able to sustain that form. So he's the first to turn Super Saiyan 2. Beats Cell, but not at the cost of losing his father's life. Apparently Super Saiyan 2, it seems like with every Super Saiyan transformation that there's a little bit more of an arrogance that comes along with it, and a bullheadedness. And Gohan could have defeated Cell super fast and super easily, but he said he wanted him to suffer. And since he did that, since he made that decision, Cell pretty much kamikazed himself, and there was nothing Gohan could do. So Goku had to step in and instant transmission him away to another place, which was King Kai's planet. But the thing that didn't make any sense to me about that is he could have instant transmitted him back, said sorry King Kai, then went back to Earth. Like this, that quick, but he didn't. Or he could have transformed him to some other planet, but he didn't. I don't know why. But that's the way the story went, so you just gotta kind of deal with it. So then, 7 years later, Gohan doesn't train for 7 years, which totally pisses me off. Like, I don't understand how you can do that. But anyways, that'll be a different discussion. I'm gonna definitely get into my pros and cons of Dragon Ball Z. I'm gonna have a different video for that. But 7 years later passed, and Gohan is now 16, and he starts going to high school after being homeschooled his whole life. Doesn't train the whole 7 years. We get a glimpse of Vegeta. Vegeta has been training this whole time, so he's obviously caught up to Gohan, and Gohan's power is probably reduced since he hasn't trained. So Vegeta has surpassed Gohan at this point. Same with Goku, and we get introduced to Trunks and Goten, who have already become Super Saiyans at like the age of like 6, which is just ridiculous. I think that totally ruins part of the plot. It totally ruins the transformation of Super Saiyan, and like makes Super Saiyan look stupid. Like it's a useless transformation, but we'll get into that in a different review. So we find out, we get these different beings that show up called Kais, which King Kai is sort of like one, but these ones are super, like, they're higher. Like one of the Kais is called Supreme Kai. Like these guys are at a different threshold in the universe. They like see over the whole universe pretty much. And they show up because Bibbidi, or Bobbidi, Bibbidi's is Bobbidi's father. But Bibbidi shows up to release Majin Buu. So they allow Gohan to get captured, drain his energy, and so they can follow where their stronghold is and try to defeat Bobbidi before he releases Majin Buu. But Majin Buu obviously gets released. Gohan almost dies, but Buu starts doing all this havoc on the Earth. And during this time, Supreme Kai takes Gohan to his planet. Gohan releases the Z Sword and trains with the Z Sword, but it breaks. And the Elder Kai comes out and unlocks Gohan's hidden powers, which are probably the powers that have been sitting inside of him since he didn't train for 7 years. It's probably about how strong he would have became if he would have trained for 7 years. And becomes Mystic Gohan, or Ultimate Gohan. He has a whole bunch of different names. But during that time, Boo encounters Goku, who shows off his new transformation, which is Super Saiyan 3, where he gets the long hair, the long golden hair, missing eyebrows, and he fights against them. Goku mentions that he could have beaten Boo, but he wanted the next generation to take over as saving the world. So instead of doing that, he prolonged the inevitable, and he taught Goten and Trunks fusion, which becomes what is that called? Their fusion. You know their fusion. I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now. I've been talking so much about this, like my brain's going numb. But they become Gotenks. That's the name. Boom. And that becomes a threat to Majin Buu because they learn Super Saiyan 3 after they fuse, but it's not strong enough to beat him. So as Gotenks is fighting Majin Buu, Gohan shows up in his new Mixed form and beats the shit out of Buu. Beats the crap out of him. But Buu self-destructs, coalesces again, and then he absorbs Gotenks. So during that time, we see Gohan getting his ass kicked, which, yeah, it sucks, but because I wanted Gohan to be the hero again, because he's one of my favorite characters, but he doesn't get the privilege. Even though he's, at the end of Dragon Ball Z, he is the strongest person outside of Battle of Gods, but I'll do a different review for that. But yeah, beats the crap out of Gohan. Goku has to come back with, he has these Patora earrings, which fuse. They're like the fusion dance, but they are the extremely efficient way of fusing. It gives you the most power, it gives you the most bang for your buck, pretty much. So he throws the one to Gohan, and if this would have happened, Buu would have been done. But Goku throws it, and he misses. He throws it off course. So it gets in all this rubble, and Gohan has to go looking for it. And during that time, Buu uses that advantage to absorb Gohan. And the reason why he does that is because the fusion of Goten and Trunks to make Gotenks, it wears off. So he becomes extremely weak. And Goku still isn't strong enough at that point, Super Saiyan 3, to beat Buu, because Buu became stronger between the time Goku was gone in the other world and came back to life. He became stronger, so he's not strong enough to beat Buu, but Gohan is still strong enough to do it. So he's like, hey, Gohan's strong enough to beat you as is. So then Gohan gets absorbed, and he becomes the Buu version of Gohan. He has the outfit on, and then Vegeta gets brought back to life, and those two fuse. Goku and Vegeta fuse, even though Vegeta doesn't like it, and they become Vegito and beat the crap out of Buu, but they get absorbed on purpose to save all the people who get absorbed by Buu. So then, after that, they free everybody from inside of Buu, and he turns into the Majin Buu of old that Supreme Kai has originally seen. Just that little short Buu, and it's not really said, in the anime at least, because I haven't read the whole manga, whether this Buu is stronger than the last Buu or weaker. But Goku and Vegeta get teleported to Supreme Kai's planet to fight against Majin Buu, because Majin Buu starts going around the whole universe and it's blowing up planets left and right, like it's a flip with his finger, boom, planet gone, planet gone. And he ends up going to Supreme Kai's planet. Goku and Vegeta end up getting warped there. Or actually, Goku and Vegeta go to the Supreme Kai planet because Buu blows up Earth and kills everybody, even Gohan and Piccolo and all the Z fighters, but they get brought back to life with the Dragon Balls. And then Majin Buu senses them on that planet, so he meets them there. So then the final fight starts up to where Goku and Vegeta versus Majin Buu, and it's a long drawn-out fight. And there's one part of this doesn't make much sense to me, but I'll tell you that at the end of the video. But Goku ends up beating Majin Buu with Spirit Bomb, of course. That's how he beats everybody, it seems. And during that time, though, while he's fighting with the Spirit Bomb, they say there's a one wish left, and they tell Goku, and instead of No, how does this go? No, that's not what happens. They do a wish. They use a wish to to. Okay, they use the wish to give Goku his power back, but they give his full power back to defeat Majin Buu. But they could have just used the wish. Even Goku mentions this in the anime. I don't know if this is in the manga, but Goku mentions that, hey, we could bring back Gohan. We can wish Gohan here, and he will be able to beat Majin Buu. But instead, they use Spirit Bomb, of course, to defeat him. Which, I mean, I guess it has been said there's a interview with the original creator, Akira Toriyama, that he took back his idea to make Gohan the hero of the series, because the whole Dragon Ball Z thing, it builds up on Gohan eventually becoming the guy. You know, he's shown with all these latent powers, and you know that once he's able to control them, he's going to easily become the strongest guy in the universe. But there's been an interview with Akira Toriyama saying that he went back on that decision because he felt that the character of Gohan wasn't built to become the main guy, which totally pisses me off because I love Gohan. I totally would have... there's a lot of people who love Gohan, and it totally would have been awesome to see him become the main guy, just for another arc. This is the Buu Saga, and then Dragon Ball Z's over. Who cares, you know? But that's just the way it happened. Gohan became lazy since it seems that half humans don't really like fighting as much as full Saiyans do, or half human, half Saiyan don't like fighting as much as full Saiyans do. But that's the way it ends. That's the way all of Dragon Ball Z ends. And there is GT, but I'm not going to review GT because that's not created by the original creator, and it's pretty much fucking garbage. So I'm not going to review that. But I will review Battle of Gods, the movie Battle of Gods, because that's created by the original creator, and he said that that is canon. And there's also another episode in between that and Dragon Ball Z, which is canon too, that he made for the 20th or 50th anniversary of Shonen Jump. So, and that's a canon thing too. So I'll review that one first, and then I'll review Battle of Gods because that comes after that. And then that'll be it. And I hope you guys like this video. It's a really long video, but it's Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is a really long series. Let me know what you guys think about this series in the review. If I left out anything, you can leave it in the comment section. You can put it in the comment section. Anything I left out, your opinions. Make sure to click that like button and subscribe to Nerd Swag. And I'm lisping everywhere. And until next time, peace.